every week. DJ Herbie Herb. That guy. All right, dude, let's jump right into it, man, because, I mean, like, I really want to let Cass know now. I got to see a picture this weekend that is the latest in the franchise called Jigsaw.
Which is another movie in the Saw franchise,
The Saw
of course.
franchise. And
Which
this
is, did you...
Called a cash grab.
Which of these movies are wildly popular, which I don't know why. I remember the first one kind of came out and it surprised people, but the sequels were all just trash.
I think they had like a solid idea for one movie and maybe a sequel, and after that they just realized, yo, this thing is a license to print money, and they just kept making them for no real.
It comes from a long line of horror franchises that have done that. I mean, how many Friday the 13th? How many Nightmares on Elm Street, where it just gets comical? They get more funny than scary.
Well, I wouldn't call Saw funny per se.
No, I'm not saying this one in particular, but like Nightmare on Elm Street turned into more of a comedy.
Well, we like that though, because
right.
I see what you're saying, and I can probably shed some light on that. When we start to like the villain,
right,
we want to see more of their antics.
Yeah, and but if you start to like the villain, the kind of the horror thing of like, oh, is this girl gonna escape? Doesn't really matter anymore. Because like, I hope she doesn't. I hope he slices her up and says something really funny about it.
Well, I think the thing about Saw is you get the sense that, okay, maybe if they were a better person, they can escape. But Jigsaw's whole thing is, these are people who I'm giving redemption to. These are folks who I put in this trap because they did something horrible in life, but this is their penance. I'm giving them an opportunity to own up to it, and then by doing so, they'll live.
See, I don't like
all
that
they have to do
whole
is play the game.
That whole thing where like the killer only kills evil people in some way, trying to justify it so you feel better about watching this mutilation and this horrible stuff. Kind of like Dexter, violence. You know what I mean? Oh well, he's killing pedophiles and bad people. Like, he's still a psychopathic murderer. Like,
Very true.
Like it cheapens it in a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, my friend, you will love this movie. Because all pretense of, Jigsaw's just doing the righteous act of giving people a second chance. Yeah, that's out the window. Because this is just like, Jigsaw is some kind of Bond villain, like super criminal in this.
Right.
All right. He's devised traps, and he's got like properties. He's got layers. He's got secret layers where he's holding people and then establishing these really elaborate.
To set that up by yourself.
Well, dude, that's what I'm wondering, man. The first, okay, I'll give it to him. The first Saw was someone who had a couple of resources, but everything else was fairly cheap. This is something that, okay, I'm just a regular guy, but something snaps, and I decided to trap people in my basement. He's building things that you could feasibly do with those kind of resources. Like,
you got like handcuffs and a bear trap or something.
Yeah, you go to an army surplus store and a hardware store, and you've got your first set of traps.
Right.
You kidnap Dr. Phil and Shaq and put him in that thing like a scary movie. But no, it was all kept within due bounds, and there was essentially a message, even if kind of ham-fistedly thrown at you.
Yes.
Johnny, you seem like you this movie, I feel, lost that. Johnny, what's on your mind?
Nothing. I mean, I've watched the first 5, maybe 6. I don't know. Like,
you stuck with it.
3, 4, 5, and 6 were like a blur to me. Like, I have no clue what went on. The story got way too convoluted because they were always jumping back into things that were going on in the first movie and in the second movie, and sort of interweaving.
It's like, remember when I killed that guy this way?
Yeah,
that was great. Anyways,
so did they do that kind of crap in this movie? Because
yes
it made the movies way too hard to follow in 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Okay, well, yes and no. This movie did this latest installment of Jigsaw it took place on 2 different fronts, and I don't think it's a spoiler to say that. It's partially a prequel, partially an ultimate sequel, like a sequel to the last movie as well. So it's kind of a weird angle to come at it from. But I thought they were doing something interesting, and by the end I was like, okay, I see what they were going for. And if this wasn't total crap, then this would have been really interesting.
So this movie's trying to like bookend itself, almost.
Well, yes, but also kind of leave the door open for a continuance.
Obviously, you have to have that.
Well, they shouldn't do that. What the hell, man? Yeah. It's like you had something where you kind of could have been like, okay, we've wrapped it up and closed the door. Fine. If anyone's really a hardcore fan, this would have told you a little bit. This kind of gives what's his name? Jigsaw's origin story, John Kramer's origin story. But the way it introduces it is a complete MacGuffin. Like everything is a very convenient plot device in this, and you can tell this was a movie written to squeeze those last couple of bucks out of the Saw franchise.
Like what else can we know?
Well, I mean, it's set up so that the previous Saw movies were okay. I have these things. I'm gonna make traps out of them for people. Cool. This movie somehow, this dude has all the resources in the world. He's got all the time in the world, and he's not only by himself, mind you, able to set up traps, kidnap people, maintain his day-to-day, his Monday cover, still interact with the working world, and get all this stuff to work, and have blueprints just floating around there for future traps he's going to make. Everything that takes place in this and the actual trapping itself. Now, mind you, if anyone's just going in this for the gore, there are some like nasty parts.
Are they? Yeah.
Like this is proper Saw disgust.
Like over the top. How creatively can we destroy these people?
Well, Saw was never originally over the top. Like it got over the top around like maybe 3.
Yeah, there were
4.
some pretty gnarly scenes, but it was more like.
Well, pretty much all of them. Even the first one had like some major gore scenes.
Well, yeah, like sawed his own leg off.
The second one really upped the ante on the gore.
I think the second one toned it down actually, because I mean, it was more like, imagine yourself in the situation. It wasn't like, oh god, it's gonna be gory. It's just, oh god, that's so internally painful. Like the ultimate Saw trap to me was the most basic thing ever. It's like find the key to exit this room, but the key is in this pit. What's in this pit? Needles.
Yeah.
That to me is the ultimate trap, because it's not, oh, some big thing's gonna crush me or some gun's gonna go off.
There's a key
it's
inside somebody too.
That was the first one. The key was
inside
behind the guy's eye, right? It's been a while.
I don't remember.
Right,
but yeah, I remember he had to dig through.
Yeah. But in the second one, because that's just like you have to like destroy a part of your body to get salvation. This was just it's a thing you have to do. There's no effort in this trap besides it's somewhere in this pit. Reach down and get it.
It kind of takes,
but it's what's in the pit. It's
thing
just so
from 7 when one of the sins was she had a hand. In one hand, it was sleeping pills, and the other hand was a phone. And they cut off her nose, and she had the choice. Basically, you can kill yourself, or you can make the call. But
vanity,
it was
my
like,
friend. What would you make in that? What choice would you make in that situation?
If my nose was cut off, if I was like I don't know.
No?
I'd probably do both. I'd probably take a few sleeping pills and then call. Like, I'm gonna pass out for a few hours because I'm in pain, but like, please get here and save me.
Oh, see, I'd take the opportunity to go full Dark Man. It's like you wrap up the face. You got no nose now, but you're halfway there. Maybe you cut off a couple lips. And you talk like,
Dark Man's such a forgotten gem. My god!
It's time to attack vengeance. It's time to attack. Oh, let's start that dude from Knock Gills too. So it's like after the Taken movies, Liam Neeson's gone a long way to forget Dark Man.
Oh,
Dark
Man,
anyone who doesn't know was
I love that movie.
Well, Dark Man, anyone who doesn't know, was a
Sam
pretty
Raimi
much like
movie.
an underground Sam Raimi film, because it was released in theaters, but like no one remembers it today.
Yeah, it's a guy that's is a scientist, and this organization kills him, but first they try to kill him, but they disfigure him, they dump him in acid, and all his flesh is destroyed, but he does all this research on like skin grafting stuff.
His research was to revolutionize, what was it for burn victims?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like he's already in that field, but now he goes underground and he's trying to get his life back together and get revenge, obviously.
The ultimate revenge.
But his superpower is basically he had no stoppage of adrenaline.
It was all he couldn't feel pain, right?
And he couldn't feel pain, and basically had unlimited strength because his adrenal glands were all screwed up, and so he was just like super strong.
Yeah, he was like the proto Kick-Ass, but also looked like beef jerky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it was cool. He had all the bandages, and he was like kind of like not a heroic figure, but he was doing great things.
He was a figure. He was like the Crow.
Right.
He's not necessarily a hero, but he's like the spirit of vengeance.
He's just there to kick some ass.
Yeah, he was the spirit of kicking
ass. Yeah.
Okay, so that's Dark Man. That has nothing to do with Saw. Saw, or rather Jigsaw, is a movie I feel that's lost its way, which is a daggone shame, because it stars like Tobin Bell is in this.
Okay.
Like he does actually return to the role, and it's not all in flashback, so they do some new stuff with him. And they took an interesting turn with that at the end. I feel though that the whole thing was very, like TV movie. This would be like a better sci-fi movie, instead of a worse
like a great sci-fi
movie.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was a movie on the Sci-Fi Channel, this actually would have been pretty dope. I would watch it. And you can tell by the cast it probably was meant for sci-fi. It's got Tobin Bell, of course, but also the leads are Laura Vanderwoort, Matt Passamori, Mandela Van Peebles. That's Mario Van Peebles' son. Son or I think son. I'm pretty sure son.
His name is Mandela?
Mandela.
Yes, probably
Mandela.
Son.
One of the blackest names you can give your son. Second blackest name, Black Adam Willis.
Correct.
Yeah. Gotta work on your black accent, man.
My black accent?
Your black accent. You can on the mic.
So good.
Adam, how you doing? Yeah. All right.
I don't want to be too offensive.
No, it's okay. I'll give you a pass just this once.
Just this once. Fair enough.
But no, what I'm getting at is this is the cast of, I won't say relatively unknowns, because I believe a couple of them have done things on TV. But this is not a cast of like big Hollywood names, so you think, no, the movie's getting back to its roots, man. It's not going for like big name actors. It's just going for like a better story.
Danny Glover in the first one?
It didn't have the better story. In the first one?
Wasn't Danny Glover in the first one?
Adam, back me up here.
In the first Saw? Can you look that up?
As the cop?
Yeah, he was a cop.
I remember Donnie Wahlberg was. Donnie Wahlberg was around there, but I don't remember Danny Glover. Maybe I'm mistaken. Dude, it's been years. Okay, good. I'm glad you mentioned that. It's been, the last Saw movie was 2010?
Early. The last one.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's been a while.
Exactly. It's been that long since you can't even remember. It's been that long since we've gotten a new Saw movie.
It was during that, maybe like 2012.
2012. Okay, but right enough time for people who've kind of forgotten about them, kind of let them slip by the wayside. No one's really thinking about when's the next Saw coming out.
This is the first one.
Danny Glover's in the Okay.
Okay. So
But Danny Glover, the first time he was too old for the shit. So we got this Saw movie. No one really asked for it, and it feels like they kind of half-assed it just to get a cash grab, just to squeeze some money out of the Saw franchise and go out on a middling note. I'm a little bummed out that it wasn't a better movie because it had what everyone would expect from Saw, these really intricate traps, but also in really unrealistic situations where this dude he's got so many circular saws, just like everywhere. I don't think there's a single hardware store that would carry this many saws in its inventory.
If you buy that many saws too, someone's like, I don't know, like maybe put him on a watch list.
Oh yeah, no, someone should have been asking questions.
Yeah. Maybe he owns a lumber mill.
No, he does not own a lumber mill.
No.
Although, ironically enough, for this movie, he owns a lumber mill.
Really?
No, the whole is
that's so bad.
Conveniently forgotten in the rest of the series. Jigsaw, Tobin Bell just happens to own a farm where all this stuff is at his disposal.
There we go. Yeah, makes sense.
The location's conveniently at his disposal. All this new equipment, running well-oiled.
So these people are like independently wealthy too. It's just like
it's ridiculous. And not just the copycats. Like we're talking about Tobin Bell himself. We're talking about Saw himself, John Kramer.
Oh, he's still alive. What happened to his?
I won't break that part.
I can't remember what happened to his cancer. He like either had cancer or didn't have cancer. Saw it out the cancer.
He's been dead since like before the first movie. This dude, no, I think they killed him in the third one. They killed him properly in the third one, and it's been copycat since. This movie does something different with that. I want to tell you what it was would be a spoiler, but I'll say I would recommend you see this if you're a fan. But I'm giving this a thumbs down, dude. This was such a half-assed attempt at a Saw.
It's like a throwaway Halloween movie. I'm surprised there wasn't more horror movies kind of being released around this time.
I'm surprised too, man. Halloween, especially this year, has been big.
What is it? There was another
Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day was totally awesome.
Yeah,
you gotta see Happy Death Day. Happy Death Day was so good.
The worst name ever for
Happy Death Day. Yes. Well, it was gonna be called. It had a more Live Die Repeat-esque original title.
Okay.
And I remember that one didn't test well.
They scrapped it.
Yeah.
When it comes to Netflix, it'll have a different title.
It might, but possibly, Happy Death Day was a good movie. It killed what was the
made some money too.
Yeah, no, it was the #1 movie. It crushed something big, and I forget what.
Not it.
No, not it. Something came after it. It crushed something that came after it. Well, anyways, Jigsaw starring Gas on the Air, starring Tobin Bell, Laura Vanderwood. Decent performance by Callum Keith Rennie, because you're not supposed to like him, and he sells it really quick as an unlikable guy.
Actors, basically.
Well, I will say, this dude Matt Passmore, he's like the only one in the movie that gets. He's the only one that's like in on the gag. Mm-hmm. So he's the one that's like cracking. He's cracking jokes as we as the audience are cracking jokes. And normally that would like really piss me off in a movie like this. But it's so ridiculous. Everything is so unbelievable. It's so over the top. Like he's got lasers. Jigsaw has
with laser
Jigsaw has lasers. The little Jigsaw puppet
like
now,
lasers that sever stuff.
like lasers that sever stuff.
Okay.
And not just like one. He constructed out of every random bit of.
Like
Where does he have the
like
nuclear
a
reactor to power
laser?
that?
Exactly, dude. That's the thing, man. So Jigsaw has lasers at his disposal. The CG in this one is like way out of bounds.
He's got plutonium at his house. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But I will say, this dude Matt Passmore, we're like, this is ridiculous. As the audience, we're thinking this, and he in the movie will say, well, this is ridiculous. And we're like, yes.
You're watching a shitty movie.
When he sees this ridiculous, like cybernetic, glowy-eyed Jigsaw puppet that seems to replace the little crab. Remember the little crabby Jigsaw puppet?
Yeah.
We like the little crabby puppet on the tricycle.
Had like little circles on its cheeks.
Yeah. Now it's an android. It's like an evil Commander Data.
And he's an app on
Did they go Jason X on this?
Not quite to that level, and you'll understand why.
It will with the next one.
But anyone who's not a fan, don't see it. Don't
Leprechaun in space.
Just let it die in peace. If you have any happy memories of the previous movies, let this one go. I got to give it a thumbs down, and I kind of hate that because since I like to see movies with like all kind of, I don't want to say no-name actors, but unknowns really do big things. This was not the vehicle for it, man.
Well, usually
Jigsaw,
Hollywood movies that are horror and around this time, if they're unknowns, they're going to be dead within the first 15 minutes of the movie anyway.
Well, true, but Happy Death Day was a movie with unknowns, and it did crazy numbers.
It did well.
All right, so that's Hollywood doing like mediocre things. Tell us about Netflix. How's Netflix faring with Wheelman?
Netflix. This is another Netflix release, which is they're doing a bunch of